Disclaimer: if this video contains AI generated elements such as voice narration, illustrations, posters, templates, or scripts, please note the same has been personally reviewed, edited, and customized by the creator. It fully reflects the originality, creativity, and the personal input of this channel, Fact Navigate.
Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the dark history, and why it still matters today. On two quiet mornings in August 1945, two Japanese cities, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, were forever engraved into the darkest pages of human history. Within seconds, entire neighborhoods were reduced to rubble. People vanished into thin air, leaving behind only shadows burned into concrete walls. Over 200,000 lives were lost either instantly or in the weeks that followed. These were not just military attacks. They were events that forced the world to confront what happens when science, politics, and power collide at their most dangerous extremes. And nearly 80 years later, their legacy still echoes in every international summit, every nuclear treaty, and every flashpoint of global tension. The bombings. 2 days that changed everything. On August 6, 1945, the US dropped the world's first atomic bomb, Little Boy, on Hiroshima. Roughly 70,000 people were killed instantly. Thousands more died in the following days from burns, injuries, and radiation poisoning. 3 days later, on August 9th, the second bomb, Fat Man, was dropped on Nagasaki. Again, tens of thousands perished. Unlike Hiroshima's flat terrain, Nagasaki's hills slightly limited the destruction, but not the horror. Eyewitness accounts describe skies turning black, people wandering with flesh peeling from their bodies, and entire families disappearing. In some places, the only trace left of a person was a dark outline on stone, permanent shadows where human bodies once stood. These weren't just attacks on cities. They were a complete breakdown of what war had previously meant. Civilians were no longer collateral. They were the target. The debate: justified or a tragic experiment? At the time, the US government justified the bombings by arguing they were necessary to end World War II swiftly and avoid a bloody invasion of Japan. Some historians accept this explanation, estimating that a land war could have cost millions of lives on both sides. But others, supported by later declassified documents, argue that Japan was already seeking ways to surrender, especially after the Soviet Union declared war on Japan on August 8, 1945. This leads to an uncomfortable question. Were the bombings truly about ending the war? Or were they a show of force aimed at the Soviet Union, marking the start of the Cold War before the previous one had even ended? The answer remains debated, but what's undeniable is the irreversible damage done, not just to people, but to humanity's moral conscience. The survivors, living warnings. Those who lived through the blasts, known as hibakusha, carry the memories and scars of those days. Many suffered lifelong health problems, cancers, genetic damage, and severe trauma. Some were infants at the time, and many grew up to face discrimination, fear, and isolation within their own communities. Their stories are not history lessons. They are warnings. One survivor described seeing a river filled with floating bodies. Another recalled the silence, so total and so unnatural, that it became more terrifying than the explosion itself. And then there are the shadows. The now famous atomic shadows captured in photos are not just haunting visuals. They are symbols of lives erased in an instant. Why Hiroshima and Nagasaki still matter today. In today's world, the threat of nuclear war hasn't vanished. It has evolved. From North Korea's missile tests to tensions between Russia and NATO, and instability between nuclear-armed neighbors like India and Pakistan, nuclear weapons remain at the heart of some of the world's most volatile situations. The Russia-Ukraine conflict in particular has revived fears of tactical nuclear strikes. Meanwhile, countries like Iran continue to develop nuclear programs, raising questions of compliance and trust. Amid all this, the memory of Hiroshima and Nagasaki serves as more than just a tragic history lesson. It is a stark reminder that once a nuclear weapon is used, there's no undoing the damage. The fallout isn't just physical, it's generational, psychological, and deeply moral. India's role and responsibility. India is not a signatory to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, NPT, but it has maintained a policy of no first use and minimum credible deterrence. As a nuclear power with global aspirations, India walks a tightrope between defense and diplomacy. India has consistently spoken for disarmament and played an active role in international peace forums, even while preserving its own security interests. In a region like South Asia, where tempers can flare quickly, India's restraint and diplomatic approach are crucial to maintaining stability. Hiroshima and Nagasaki are not just about bombs. They are about people. Families, children, workers, students who lived ordinary lives before becoming extraordinary casualties. Their legacy challenges us to ask hard questions about power, war, and what kind of world we want to live in. It forces us to look beyond flags and politics and see humanity for what it is: fragile, precious, and capable of unimaginable destruction. The silence left behind in Hiroshima and Nagasaki still speaks to us. The question is, are we still listening?